This is just a quick video to show how I prepare tuna. Options are going to vary, and it's going to be certain people that like different things amongst how this is made. However, this is how I make it. I'm a quick prep maker for my meals, and I'm a bare minimalist, so it doesn't take much for me when it comes to tuna. I know people go all out sometimes, and this is more so just a quick, easy way for something to prepare. And these are the options and the things that I use. These vary in brands. It's normally what I go with. I'm not a big fan of Starkist, but I do keep it in-house on occasion, and I believe this one is a great value. Albacore is always my favorite regardless. So I keep these stocked up in general, just in case. You know, some of the seasonings that I'll be using to prep this. Old Bay can be a favorite of many. One of my favorite go-tos for many of things is oregano, Italian seasoning, lemon pepper, basil, and of course olive oil. Mayonnaise is a personal preference depending on what you like. I'm going to be going with Duke's. It's actually my first time using Duke's. I usually just use Miracle Whip or whatever's available, because I only use just a tinge of it for what I'm going to make. So there again, just a quick pan. These are going to be the only things I'm going to be using spice wise, so it's going to be a little different than what most make it there again, but I'm going to give some alternatives to how it's not really for me how it's made, but more so some of the things you use to accent it that can give it a whole different take and presentation. Regularly, you have to be careful because of the mercury content with tuna. It can certainly, you eat it regularly, it's not advised to be the best thing for you, but every now and occasion, great quick meal. These are going to be some of the alternatives that we're going to use. I brought this by mistake. I actually thought I was going to get the whole grain wraps, but these are just some general tortillas. Tuna really goes great. I think it's a great complement to croissants. The only thing about the croissants is that croissants can be a little, depending on your diet with what you want, they can be a little fattening. But here's the multi-grain wraps, and this tortilla factory, non-GMO, no artificial flavors, no bad fats. Personal preference and choice is totally up to you. Pretty much this is the spinach kale. So I haven't used this before, but that should be pretty good. So spinach kale here, and then we also just have a 6 multi-grain, and you have your soft, usually used for soft tacos, but tortilla style, and you have your croissants. So first I'm going to start with my personal favorite here. Okay, so I got my albacore here all set to mix and go. There again, like I said, I use a little bit different seasonings. Once again, I'm gonna start off with a little bit of Old Bay. Now, how much you put in here is totally up to you, but for me, I'm not really big and heavy when it comes to the mayonnaise part, but when it comes to my seasonings, I go a little heavy on them, because once you start mixing this stuff up, to me, it's one of those things where it gets absorbed pretty quickly by everything that's in here. So it's a little palette open with all of these things. Just a splash. This lemon pepper could be a little heavy, so I don't go too hard on that, but just a little something. There we go, my basil. And of course, olive oil. Usually go like a teaspoon or a tablespoon. There again, it's up to you. I like it kind of light, so I don't go too heavy. So everything is in there. I'm gonna go a little last with my mayonnaise. So I went a little light with the mayonnaise here. This takes, as you can see, it's not, you know, anything labor intensive, which is what I like about this, and that's why it's a quick meal. But pretty much you mix this up to your desired preference. Albacore is pretty thick, and so Sometimes it may require a little bit heavier mayonnaise, personal preference once again. I don't mind having mine a little drier than usual, depending on what you like. There again, you can go more with adding some extra mayonnaise or a little extra olive oil. This is a little light, very light, so I'm gonna go a little bit heavier with the olive oil there. From a standpoint of my seasoning, getting that chopped up a bit, a little bit more Old Bay. This Old Bay everything gets absorbed. From a consistency standpoint, I am good. So that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. There you have a quick meal, and it's gonna be what I do to this. It's going to kind of make this the tuna fish that I have come to enjoy. Gonna empty that there in my bowl, and for the most on how much I want, but this is like 2 servings for me. It's 1 can, and with this 1 can I can have this for lunch, save the next for the next day, dinner, depending on whenever you want it. Quick meal there again. This will give me enough for maybe 2-3 sandwiches, depending on your portion intake and how heavy you want to go. 2 of the things I'm going to be using as to what I really like about this quick meal is this is going to be a great accent. It's baby spinach, and you can't go wrong with a nice crispy romaine lettuce, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to wash these off very thoroughly, along with the vegetable accents I'm going to use. Wash those off thoroughly, and then we're going to go with completing how this complements this tuna. Vegetable spinner, and look at the beautiful color and that green on this lettuce here. It's there, and I think we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do multi-grain. I'm going to do a croissant, and I also will do the spinach and the kale wrap, so you can get an idea. All the same, very basic and simple. There again, this is just extremely as quick as you can possibly get it, which is why I love doing this particular type of tuna setup. So we're getting closer. Here is going to be what's going to complete this arrangement for the tuna. Once again, there's your spinach, kale wrap, and this is your 6-grain, multi-grain. And went ahead and took the liberty, when I cut my croissant, I usually don't cut it completely open, just about halfway through. And also, one of the things about these 3 things, I like to kind of, not a lot, but just heat these up in a microwave for about a few little seconds, and then go from there. So next, we have 2 empty bowls here, and I'm going to show you what's going to fill these bowls. Okay, so I went ahead and prepped these already, and what I have here is, as you can see, broccoli and some cauliflower. So these are going to be the little things that I use to accent this wonderful tuna. So it's been cleaned for the most part, cleaned thoroughly, even scrubbed a little bit. Sometimes you let them soak. I let them soak in some apple cider vinegar. It does not do the best for the taste, but you don't have to do that. There again, it's personal preference. Wash it off the best you can. And then what I'm going to do is take these, and I just cover a pan here, not too much. Keep the flame at a light to mid-medium, because this cooks fairly quickly. Like, for the most part, I'm going to be eating these not too much raw, but I do prefer my vegetables raw, just to keep the nutritional value intact with them. And what I do to cut some of the earthy taste, because sometimes it can get a little harsh depending on how raw it is and there again, this is personal preference, but sometimes I will add a little oregano seasoning to it. I'm not going to do it with this go around, but what I am going to do is, one of the nicest things about offsetting the taste for this will be just a pinch of olive oil. That does help. And then I'm going to do just a tablespoon or a teaspoon. Actually, I'm going to do a teaspoon of butter that I'm going to add to this. And for the most part, it's going to as it heats up. Just gonna let this cook and simmer. It's gonna boil just a little bit. There again, so it doesn't have to be completely. You're gonna notice, you know, the longer it stays in here, the color, the green of this broccoli is actually gonna change, which is not a bad thing. But as mentioned, just a spot of butter. Get that in there. Let that cook a little. Turn it over frequently depending on how high I have that stove. And that's kind of good for me right there. I'm gonna just kind of. So there's my accents. Got a nice side of cauliflower. Nice beautiful green color there in that broccoli there. So is that okay? So here's the spread. Everything is all set to go. We got broccoli over cauliflower to the right, broccoli cauliflower to the right, and the rest of the spread. So this is where it gets fun. Now you can be as creative as you so choose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a piece of lettuce right there to one wrap. It's personal preference. All about is how heavy you want to go. 2 pieces, 1 piece is totally up to you. We're going to do some spinach. So I think for my croissant over here, I'm going to do a little spinach. And then we begin adding the tuna. So here again, you can get creative with this. However you so please. So there you have it there. It may not be a little crude, but it's effective. You know, it's not the best presentation. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these up, give you an idea of what these will look like in there. Just gonna fold that over like so. Right to left, left to right, doesn't even matter. And thus, easy peasy. It doesn't take too long. That's it in general. So I thank you for watching and hope this is something you might want to try and get as creative as you like. That's the fun and joy of not only cooking, because there's not no real cooking here, but the joy of quick meals. Like I said, this is something that you can do. It's on the go, very fast, quick, and for the most part, in my opinion, pretty healthy. Tastes good. You can jazz it up as you want and get as colorful as you want with whatever you like to include in these ingredients. So I hope that's something that maybe some try already or don't try, but there again, this is just how I do it, how I make it. And from a standpoint of cutting and killing the clock, as a quick meal and a healthy alternative, this is for me the way to go. And it's quite appetizing, and that doesn't hurt.